This is so simple, but it is so nice. Today we're going to, I'm not sure how far we're going to get, but we're going to attempt to install a shelf down here. Just need to put this away, and then we'll take a look at what we're going to do today. Okay. So, what we are going to do today is we are going to attempt, and I say attempt because I'm not sure that this is going to be successful. We're going to attempt to install some shelves here. I'll turn the light on. We're going to attempt to install some shelves up here, very similar to these. And we'll see how far over we can go. I got to get the measure thingy so we can check it. Alright, so let's see how much distance we have available. And then we'll compare that to the materials I have on hand and see if we can make something work. So we have potentially about 5 feet. Now, as we go all the way over there, it's going to get kind of difficult to reach, right? So I think maybe I want to lag onto this beam and maybe this beam, and that'll probably be about it in terms of distance. So let's say, realistically, I would say maybe just a little over 3 feet is good. Maybe 3.5 feet at most. So let's go into the garage now and see what kind of materials I have on hand. And let's see what else I knock over in the process. Here we are in the garage. We'll go ahead and start up these metal halide lights. This one's taking some time to get going. I wonder if it needs a new bulb. I'll have to take the cover off and watch it start up and see what is the problem. And we might as well turn the fans on as well. And I think it's freezing out today, so we're going to also switch on the heat. It's 58, so it's actually satisfied. I usually heat about high 50s in here. We'll bump it up just a little bit while we're working in here. So before we get into the wood, let's just take a quick look at some of the thing that I got at OK Will recently. Okay, so first off, we have, oh, we'll just take everything out and I'll show it. There is some wood in the car here, but this is not the wood in question. This is unrelated wood. These can go back in here and after this wood will come out. Alright, we're done with that. This is busted, so we have to kind of pull this out first and then close it and then put this back. And this does not close all the way anymore, which is a problem. What? Oh well, it is what it is. So this is what I got at the Goodwill recently. We have the Kenmore Progressive upright vacuum, which is almost mint. This is not the model I'm looking for. It's similar, but it's not quite it. I think this is either an older model or a lower end model. Yeah, that really didn't make me feel any better at all. and it came with a bag. Looks like a brand new bag, so let's see, is it brand new? No, it's got some junk in there. No, I guess it's not new at all. It also is it even the right one? Seemed like it just came right off of there. Well, anyways, it's got that. Okay. But I mean, it's like brand new. If probably we can clean that off. And it's just in immaculate condition. And these were very good vacuums too. It's just in excellent condition. Very lightly used. Filter's not even that dirty. It's not a beltless model. It's got belts, 12 amps. I don't know if this was an older model or just lower end. Oh gosh. What the heck? Well, I'm pretty sure that the belt is shot on this because it's turning way too free. It's not connected to anything. And wow. Okay. Well, most likely, I bet what happened is this sat for extended periods of time, and then the belt rotted out, and then when it went to be used, it didn't work good because the belt was no good, and that's probably why it was canceled out. I'm not sure if this goes with it or not. It doesn't really fit in there quite right. I don't think it does go with it, but I don't know, I threw it in there. Kind of works. So that's the vacuum. And then we also got from last week, we got a vintage Sanyo mini fridge. Got some more snowflake lights for Christmas, since Christmas never sleeps around here. We also got some traditional holiday classic set lights from GE. I really started to take a liking to these this year, and I get them every time I see them. They're just really beautiful lights. I like the boxes too. I had a bunch of these up in the living room last year. I'll do the same probably again. So I got that. I also got a K-Light CFL. Never heard of the brand before, but the light bulb videos have been doing pretty good lately, and I like light bulbs. So there's that. And then lastly, we have a mushroom nightlight. My mother got me something like this when I bought the house. It's a little bit smaller. It's probably the same thing, but this one's a lot bigger, so we'll have that as well. So there's the some videos to come up soon, or knowing me, who knows when. Alright, so let's take a look at this wood here. We'll get this stupid mess out of the way. This is a source of frustration. I think I'm just gonna throw those out. I can't fix that. Well, I mean, I could. You could fix just about anything with the right time and resources, but it's just not really worth it. You know, if this was a vintage fan that was rare and there's just no way to obtain the blades, I'd spend the time on it, but this I don't think is worthwhile. So we're gonna put the measure. There it is. So I have some wood behind here. This wood, I want to get rid of all this stuff. You know, some pieces like this I kept keeping these, but realistically I'm probably never going to use it, so a lot of this like small scraps I'll just cancel out. But there is some good material here, so I want to try to use as much of this as I can for various projects. But this summer I'm going to tackle the garage and get this all cleaned up and usable. So this is going to have to go. So we've got, well, we only need probably, I think we're just going to make maybe 3 shell. Actually, we can make a maximum of 3. 2 or 3. So this is the wood here, if I can get this wood out. What is the time? It's 7:49. So I need to kind of step this up here because the cutting this is going to be loud. I'm going to move fast. Haha, very funny. So this wood, I got, my uncle gave it to me. I guess his neighbor was moving, and she had this wood in the garage or something. I didn't want to take it with her, so she offered it to him, and then in turn he offered it to me. And he says, "Why don't you just take it and put it in the attic as flooring?" And I said, "Oh, that makes sense, you know, because the attic doesn't have any floor." And he kind of presented it to me like it was just like some junk wood. And so I went over there, and these are big 8x4 sheets. And I just kind of haphazardly cut it up and threw it in the car, you know, because it didn't really matter if it's going to go in the attic as the floor. But then I've been working on I was like looking at the material later on in the week, and I realized that this is like really nice material. It's very, very, very strong. Actually, I use this piece for the wheelbarrow. When I move the pallets upstairs, there's like a 4 or 5 inch gap on the door. I put this on the floor and I push the wheelbarrow over it, and this, even this thin piece, can hold the weight of the wheelbarrow plus 4 or 5 bags of pellets. So this is really quite strong material. And in fact, I bought something similar to it to use as my tabletop over here. See, this is like the same kind of material, and it's very nice. Even the edges, there's no snags or anything. It's just a really nice material, and it's very expensive. So now I wish that I didn't do this. And I realized that at the time, I would have cut it, I don't know, however many pieces would have fit in the car, what length, but I would have at least cut it rectangularly so that I could use it for a different project. But now we have it like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to try to cut it into rectangles. It's extremely heavy too. I would say this is, well, we don't need to guess. I think it's 1/2 inch or 3/4. Is 3/4. Very, very sturdy. So we're going to have to square this out, and then we'll cut it to be a rectangle, and we can use this for the shelves. And we'll see how many I end up with. This we're going to keep here, and this we'll keep here. And I'll try to use as much of this as I can for other projects, but I think a lot of it I'm just going to cancel out. I got to get the workbenches down. I sure can't wait for it to be summer. Then I could do this work in here with the fan on, as opposed to doing it outside in cold and making a lot of noise. You know, because the neighbors is very close here, so I don't like to make a lot of noise at night. Okay, so I think, let me find this square. Let's see if any of these cuts are actually straight. Nope, not one of them. Oh man. Alright, so we're just going to mark this straight, and we'll have to cut it. Hopefully I can see this outside. Sometimes my eyes actually do pretty good with the sodium lights, but the color rendering is kind of poor, and sometimes things like this are a little bit hard to see. Okay, well that was almost as bad as not even having a line. Oh gosh, that is awful. Well, I did the best I could. I'm more of a never measure cut 15 times person. I don't always do well with this kind of stuff. I don't know why. It's very simple, but it's not bad. It's not perfect, but as long as it's remotely close, you won't be able to tell in this application. Now, I'm not really paying attention to the width because it doesn't really matter. I'll get out of it as much as I can here, and it is what it is. This lighting in here is fantastic. This is one of the first projects I'm really doing in here since I put these lights in, and it's excellent. I figured it would be. How can you go wrong with metal halide? This is not going to be perfect either, but it's much better than it was. It's got to be better than it was. The way it is now is awful. So let's see here. I guess I'll cut it outside. It's only 8 o'clock. It's not sleeping time yet.
that's ironic. I can actually see the lines better out here. Okay, so I got one of the pieces cut now. This is the piece. And it looks awful, but that's just the way it's gonna be. I tried. Okay, so I think now we're gonna cut another piece, and we'll try to go the same, or at least a similar size, maybe a little bit. No, I guess it would have to be. It should really be the same. It should be the same size. No, this is actually pretty good. This must have been the end, maybe. Maybe that was the end. Oh man, that really is not straight. You know what I should have done, which would have made more sense, is I should have used a longer straight edge. Do I have one? Actually, I do. I think this is a... Is this straight? If it wasn't for that staple, I think it would be. Yeah, this is a straight edge. Ah, jeez. I should have used this to do it, to make the line. Or, even better, I should have just clamped. I should have clamped this on and kept the saw up against it. This would have given me a better cut. Well, I think we're gonna, maybe we'll redo it and just shave off like a 1/4 inch to make it better. I just realized I never even measured the length of this. I won't fuss it over the cuts, but the length might not even be right. It's too long. We only need, well actually, you know what? I don't think it would do any damage for it to be longer. Because we said we can't have less, it's gotta be less than 5 feet, so we'll just leave it. Okay, so now, what I'm gonna do is, well, we'll do this outside, I guess. Okay, so what we will do here is we're going to adjust the saw all the way down like this so we can kind of sit flush, and we'll take the saw and we'll go to the edge. We're going to line up the blade to where we want it to cut. So we know that the blade is kind of like this, and then we'll clamp this down, and this will give us a much straighter cut because we can just keep the saw up against the wood, our wood piece here the whole time. Look at that, I got it perfect just by looking at it. Stupid measuring. Yep, that's pretty good. Okay. So now we'll move the saw down and we'll keep the saw up against here as we cut. And that will just take off about 1/4 inch of it. It'll straighten it out. That's much better. that should be much better now. Oh, the camera is all dusty. I think everything's dusty at this point. Yeah, that's pretty good. I can live with that. It's not perfectly symmetric, but it's close enough. Okay, so now we're going to cut a second one, and I think that we have the actual manufacturing corner here, so this side should be a straight edge in theory. Seems to be. So it's just this side, which is not going to be straight. So how much we should cut off is the question. Maybe like an inch or two. I'll go take a look inside and see how much we can allow for. This one is about 12.5 inches. For cosmetic reasons, I think that they should both be this size. Because even something this big, this amplifier, the receiver would fit on here just fine. So I think that's it. We're going to keep with the 12.5. So we'll cut this one on the same line. It's kind of a waste of some of the material, but it's still doing more than it was just sitting here in the garage. So we'll cut it here. And I'll use the other straight edge again. So here's one piece. I don't know if we're going to end up actually making 3 pieces. This might be a multi-day project. I want to at least get 2 up because I know what I'm going to do with the first one, and then the second one I'm not even sure yet. So I want to go making 3 in there because we got to make this the right size to fit these items. totally off. Using the wrong side, I think. Yeah, I was using the wrong side. Not good. Now it's correct, it's too far over. Okay, this is deteriorating rapidly here. It's easily a ½ inch off. What is going on here? Yep, it's totally off. What is the malfunction? Okay, good. Here's the pieces. They're about the same size. They're square enough that it shouldn't be noticeable once they're hanging on the wall. So we're going to put these two up tonight, and then potentially we'll add a third, but I'm not sure. We got to set these two up first and then we'll go from there. Here's a 2x4. I think if we just cut it in half, this should give us a good amount of height on the wall to use to work with. But before we do that, we need to plug up the electricity here. Okay, this is 8 feet on the nose, so we will slice it in half here. And we'll just cut this by hand. I'm not going to get the chop saw for this. It's not necessary. This is a really good saw. Okay, so these be the two pieces that we will put onto the the ceiling. Okay, we're inside now, and what we're going to do is the same concept as is over here. It's going to be identical in form factor to this shelf, which I did not show on video, but this one I will show on video. So I'm going to start by drilling 2 holes through the floor beam. And I'm going to use a drill bit that's just slightly larger than the screws, so that the screws can go through and spin inside the hole. And we're going to use the Verticam drill because I think it'll be a little bit easier in this case. And then this wire is going to go away soon. And then this area will look a lot better. At some point I will also replace this insulation with styrofoam pieces, because I just feel like this can fester bugs and whatever else. It's not very clean in this kind of use case. It's also a pain in the neck when making holes. Get it. Okay, so now we're going to put 2 screws through. Let's see, I get you a better angle on this. Actually, I think I'm going to put the tripod in the sink. That works, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to get 2 screws, and I'm going to stick these screws through here, and you can see that just barely enough to fit through without fully grabbing. If I put the drill bit on here and tighten these screws down, it should just strip right out, which normally is not what we're looking for, but in this case it is. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now we're going to take the wood and we're going to go around like this. We want it to stay away from the wall just a little bit in case of moisture or bugs or whatever. I'm just going to mark the holes, and then we'll drill them out. There's our holes. Okay, I guess we'll do this one to completion, and then move on to the next one. So the top screw here, actually, you know what? No, that's not what I'm going to do. We're going to go in phases. But this is going to be more difficult if I don't have both of the smaller screws. So let's move on to the next one here. I got to make sure there's nothing behind that. We do have to be a little careful here because we've got the fiber cable, which I need to rerun. Once I rerun the fiber cable and get rid of this other piece of Romex, this area will look a lot cleaner. I'm also going to take out those telephone wires, I think. Or what I might do is I'll take this one down because this serves no purpose, and I might leave this one because this is an original phone line. I might leave this and just tack it up just for show. It's not in use anymore, but it's original and I like telephone equipment, so it just kind of makes sense to keep it. Alright, good, there's nothing on the other side, so we're going to have to go in between here. See, this is all done with that stupid bite, whatever the heck it is stuff, which I don't like. We'll go below and above this phone line here I should have put the other bit back on the Verticam drill. Okay. And this is the same procedure as before. We're just going to drill 2 holes. We're going to start the screws in here to get the markers. I don't like the positioning of that. It's too far over. Oh, I guess we don't have a choice. Okay. Yeah, something's getting a little flaky here. Holes are not coming out in ways that make sense. Okay. So now we need to drill holes in the wood for the screws to go into so that the wood doesn't split. Why is like that? That's kind of weird. Okay, so on the top, we're going to have a long lag, which will probably go, turn off, which will probably go a little bit past the board. And on the bottom, we'll have a shorter lag, which will not go past the board. I didn't use the longer lag on the other shelf here, but the other shelf doesn't have a whole lot of weight on it. This one is going to have a considerable amount of weight. So I want to add the extra security of having the longer lag in place as well. I don't know if it's necessary, but the only way to find out would be if there's some kind of catastrophe. So we'll just avoid that and put it in anyways. Okay, that's exceptionally solid. I am completely confident in this design. The wood is not straight because the beam is not straight. It doesn't look nice, but that's just the way that it is. I'm not going to put shims and all this stuff over a cosmetic issue. It's just as strong. It looks kind of ridiculous, but it's fine. Once the shelves are full, you're going to look at the shelf and say, wow, that's some interesting equipment. And if you sit there, oh, the thing is crooked, you got problems. Alright. So now, the next thing we're going to do is mount the pieces of wood, which I just did not make it into the house, onto here. So I gotta go get those. Now we are going to install the brackets. So I bought 6 brackets, but I don't think so that we're actually going to use 6. I think we're only going to use 4. At least for this particular shelf. I might use these for something else. But, so I don't know which way do these go. I guess like this. I would be more comfortable with it going like this. Even though that's probably not the way it was intended to go. I think I'm going to use it that way. Does it say? Actually, looking at the picture right there, it kind of looks like it does go this way. Well, that picture is so small, I'm not sure it's meant to be accurate. This is a medium duty shelf bracket. And, oh, here we go. Duh, it says this leg attached to shelf. So actually this is the way it's meant to be used. and it says working load limit 160 pounds. Manufactured after 2018. We're not going to put anywhere near 160 pounds on here. We're going to put a couple of fans on here. I got to dig them out. This is the fans we're going to put on that shelf, with the exception of that one because it's just too tall and it won't make any sense. So this will be our tallest one, I believe. So we'll start with this one, and we use this to determine the height of the shelf. Okay, so we know that the shelf needs to be around here. So installing the bracket itself to the wall should be pretty simple. We're just going to go through with a handful of wood screws. But what's going to be a little more complicated is the attachment of the shelf itself to the bracket. Can't get the stinking bit out of the bit set again. Okay. So we will put the bracket like this. Okay then. I thought this was the right bit, maybe it's not. It's perfectly straight. You don't look it, but it is. Okay, and now the other bracket. Do I have? The other bracket I'm going to have to check and get up with a level, because we got to make it level. Wow, this actually is going to provide a lot of surface area, kind of more than I had expected. This is going to fit quite a bit of material. knot here. That is not ideal. Okay. Now I'm going to put some spacers here. Keep that away from the wall once the weight goes down. I'm going to go ahead and cut those now before we go any further. Scratch that. I cannot get out the door. Okay, anyways. Okay, so we're ready now to put the shelf on. Now this is where things is going to get a little interesting, because the screws I have that will not go through this piece are not self-tapping screws. So we're going to have to drill a lot of holes here, because I don't want to buy new screws. I want to reuse screws I have on hand. So we're going to do it this way. So I've got a bunch of miscellaneous screws, which have nice threads, will be good for catching wood. They're just not self-tapping. So I'm going to go ahead and drill some holes here. Okay, so we'll just drill. We'll put a hole here. That's going to take a long time. I guess it's still going to take a long time. Okay. And then we'll go. Let's see if we can get a screw there. These screws really aren't holding any weight, so I'm not worried about it being a little dodgy. The only thing these screws would really do is prevent it from moving horizontally, which there's really no reason they should ever do that anyways. Yeah, that's fine. That's very solid. I like this design. I like this much better than this other shelf I made. The other shelf is okay for what it is, but it's not that strong. It don't need to be, because it's not coming under a lot of weight. But this is much better. These brackets, not worth getting out of the screw. These brackets cost about $6 a piece. And I paid for them exclusively with coins. That did not go well. The reason why I paid exclusively with coins is because ever since the bottle redemption went up to 10 cents, it really adds up pretty quick. You know, I always used to turn them in, but didn't add up that much. You know, you might get a couple bucks here and there, but now it's like if you have 10 bottles or cans, you get $1. Adds up quick. So I've been grabbing them when I see them. And that wasn't good. And I was able to use all that money to buy these
these brackets. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a no-cost project. That's one of the reasons why I didn't want to buy new screws, because then it would make it a cost project. Yeah, I ain't getting that screw. That's all behind all the paint cans. It's okay. I have others. I don't remember what these screws were from, but they were in the miscellaneous screws bin. So they were from something else. Okay. This needs to stop, because I will run out of screws if this continues. Alright, that's a nice shelf. I like this shelf. I like this shelf a lot. This is coming out good. I don't like this, but we're going to ignore it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's very solid. Now, there is a slight problem here. Well, I guess not so much. If you're standing up close, the depth of the shelf kind of blocks the material in the back. But so be it. Since this is so much larger than I thought it was, I'm going to see if I can put this larger fan up there, because it's got the space. I should be able to put it up in one of the areas where the, like in between the rafters is, I think. And then at some point I got to get back over to the other location and retrieve the rest of the fans. Yes, there are still more fans over there. Yeah, this will be able to go somewhere. That's heavy, but it's not even phasing this shelf. And this wire is not going to be canceled out, so if that's in the way, then that's a deal breaker for this. But let's see if I can I get this all the way over there? Let's see. Not quite. Let's see here. Got it. Now we just needed to. Can we slate that over? Oh, I guess not. Well, that's pretty good. I think I'll take that. We can always come back here and kind of adjust this stuff a little better later. I think that's good for now. This fan is kind of falling apart. I gotta fix that. That's one of a million different projects I need to actually get to for once around here. Alright, I'll add the rest of them. And I think that will clean up the floor, I guess, too. And that'll be a wrap for tonight. Because it's getting hungry and I'm getting late.
Yeah, the shelf is not even phased. Excellent. Excellent build. This free up a lot of space over here too. This is good. I've got a few more. Let's see how this works. I'd like to put them up here for the sake of storage space, but it might not look very good. Well, we'll go with this for now, but I'm not too keen on it because the ones in the back row are much nicer fans than these cheesy dime store ones. So I'd rather have those in the front, visible at least. Put that boom box back and see how much space we got that we'll work with. I think it goes right to the end. Yep, and then it gets stuck on that wire. This is so haphazard. So that's all the space we got there. We've got, let's see, one more from this shelf, which was ruined with silver paint. Isn't that ironic? We were just talking about that yesterday. Stupid silver, everything's silver. Alright, so that's shelf number one. Fit everything I hoped it would and more. And as far as the sturdiness goes, it's unfazed. It could handle probably 5 times that weight and it wouldn't care. So last thing I want to do is get the spacers put in to keep it kind of stabilized at the bottom. I've got this one floating around here. Let's see, does this just happen to be the right, no. Nope. Not the correct length for either place. Here's one. This is not really changing the distance at all from the wall. It's just kind of supporting it from the bottom. And it'll keep the gap, because the gap might close as more weight goes on there. And number two. Okay. That's a wrap on this for tonight. I'll do a little bit of vacuuming. Get all the stuff cleaned up in this corner here. Did that spacer just fall out? Yep, I guess it's a hair too thin. Well, when I think when some more weight goes on the shelf, we might push it down just the iota it needs to stay in place properly. Alright, so I'll just vacuum this up so we don't leave a mess for myself. And then that'll be a wrap on the night. I'm going to use the little Auric canister in the corner, which is making a weird sound still. figure out why this is making all those weird noises. It's very annoying.